You're listening to the Geekscape Network.
Time to fire up the VCR. This one's my favorite. That was gold.
Welcome to Analog Jones in the Temple of Film. I'm Steve.
And I'm Matt.
And we're here with special guest Alex Vazquez. Say hello, Alex.
Hi, everybody.
Matt, what are we watching? The special super feature.
We are cracking down on Death Wish 4, the Crackdown.
Two kids looking for a new thrill.
Hey, just like I promised.
Yeah, sure.
But this time, the thrill went too far. Crack has claimed another victim. Dealers are making up their own rules, and no one is able to stop them. Somebody has got to crack down. Who are you?
Dead.
Charles Bronson in the biggest death wish ever.
They have to be stopped, Kersey.
Death Wish 4, the Crackdown.
Spent a small fortune buying information on the major drug dealers in Los Angeles.
I'll handle this my own way. No interference from you.
He's working to destroy the drug empire.
It's either him or us.
Now, Bronson is their target. The trap is set.
Here he comes.
The fuse is lit. Bronson is unleashed. Charles Bronson, Death Wish 4, the Crackdown.
Woo. Now let me tell you, this trailer is almost as legitimately dumb as the movie. But I think I enjoyed the trailer more.
I don't know. This movie is just nutters. I had a good time.
Yeah, I remember in the past you talked about how you kind of like this one a lot.
Yeah, I mean it's not as good as 3, but it's the wacky Death Wishes. It's 3 and 4 are the wacky ones.
All right, Alex, what was your...
My evaluation or my...
Yeah, your quick one, quick. Before...
Okay, well, it's certainly better than 5, and it's better than the remake. Just as a reminder to your audience, I am working through this Death Wish series backwards with you guys. I've never seen any of these movies before, and so this is my first experience with this movie. Certainly an improvement, more action. Bronson doesn't seem like he has like a foot in the grave in this one. Though I would say at most I see him running at like a fast trot is about as fast as he ever goes in this movie, but there's a little bit of energy there. Not much, but
I would say Bronson is more alive than Bruce Willis was in the remake. Bruce Willis doesn't have one foot in the grave as far as we know. So
yes,
see, I'm going to slightly disagree with that. I think this is the movie that Bruce Willis watched to get his pace down.
I don't know, man. Bruce Willis barely opened his eyes.
He was going for 4 Bronson.
If you really think Bronson cares in this movie, I want to know what movie you watched.
I don't think Bronson cares in this movie. I just think Bruce Willis is that bad in the remake.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to defend Bruce Willis's acting in that.
What I'm saying is not a defense of Bronson. I'm just trying to shit on how bad Bruce Willis was in that remake.
Yeah, I think we all. But you can go back and listen to all of our Death Wishes. Death Wish with Eli Roth directing it with Bruce Willis, and then the 5th one, which with just Bronson. But remember Dandruff from the 5th one. Do you think we're going to have a bad guy in this as good as Dandruff?
No. I don't think so.
What was his name? Frankie Flakes?
Yeah.
I actually remembered a character's name.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Well, because how insane is it that for Death Wish 5 they were like, well, what's going to be like this character's defining trait? And they're like, dandruff. Of course that's memorable because it's completely and totally just like insane.
I would also say that's the single most memorable thing about that movie.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you anything else that happened in it. And I watched it with you guys. Like, I'm pulling pulling blanks right now. I don't know.
I remember a lot of pots got blown up at one point.
Mm-hmm.
There was a kitchen destruction, yeah. And somebody got blown up with a RC car. I remember that.
Oh, yeah.
That's about it. That's all I got. And Bronson didn't move. He was in full Seagal mode.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Still think Willis was worse than even then, like, half dead Charles Bronson in 5, Bruce Willis was still worse in the remake.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the quick facts. We'll try to run through this in a few minutes. The Crackdown was 1987, the 4th installment in the Death Wish series, and had a budget of $5 million to $8 million, depending on who you ask. I mean, at this point, Canon was just on fire, like, and not in the good way, just like
burning.
Yeah,
burning to the ground.
It was like one of the spaceships re-entering the atmosphere, just on fire.
Yes.
Actually,
losing parts.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just flying everywhere. They're just desperate, and it had a box office of $6.9 million. So didn't make back its money. This was another failure on Canon when it came to theater distribution, which is mostly how they made their money, because they sold the rights to a lot of their movies for home video. But this movie did fantastic on home video. And I found where it sold over 100,000 units. What that means, I don't really know, but it sounds like a lot.
Yeah. Or
So.
does that just mean that they moved 100,000 units to stores and then they were stuck
Then they
with
sat
stacks
there.
of VHS tapes?
If those stores bought them, though, that's their damn fault.
And that's why we no longer have video stores.
Sadness. But they're going to live forever. Current movies in the theater at the time. I only know really one of the... No, two. Fatal Attraction.
Sure.
Hello Again. Baby Boom.
Yes.
Baby Boom, yeah.
Less Than Zero.
Yeah.
And
Another drug movie.
Yeah. And Suspect. Now, I think this is what happened. During the 80s, after the Reagan say no to drugs and all that, where we're basically, oh, you're selling you're selling cocaine, we're going to put you in jail for 30 years. And
no, specifically crack. Because they wanted to put black people in prison, not the rich white people who were doing fancy powder cocaine.
Yeah.
Oh, fancy powder cocaine is actually very good for you.
Yeah.
You lose weight.
Right.
You have energy.
You
got a lot done.
That was what Robert Downey Jr. was doing in Less Than Zero.
Oh man, I'm going to play just a little bit of Nancy Reagan and Ronald Reagan talking about crack.
Drug abuse costs you and your fellow Americans at least $60 billion a year. From the early days of our administration, Nancy has been intensely involved in the effort to fight drug abuse.
I'm especially concerned about what drugs are doing to young mothers and their newborn children. Listen to this news account from a hospital in Florida of a child born to a mother with a cocaine habit.
Oh, isn't that lovely, everyone? You remember that when they were sitting on the couch talking? I think I was 3, 4. I don't know. I
was not alive yet. But this movie, though, you could tell is a direct, like, they saw that speech, like that very specific speech, and were like, okay, write a movie about it and put Death Wish in it.
Well, one point in this movie is like an ABC or NBC sitcom of Don't Do Drugs, and it is when the girlfriend, the reporter, is in the hospital looking at the dead bodies, and I was just like, this is something they could have put in school and been like, look, she was 13 years old and selling her body for crack cocaine. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Right. That was very, very after school special.
Yeah, after school special. That's what I was looking for. Yeah.
There was, it was like sort of like, we were talking about before we recorded. It was like they were explaining it to people who didn't know, like, what crack was. Like, they were really, like, talking down to the audience. So, like, beyond just being, like, an after-school special, it was just, like, this is crack cocaine. Stay away from this. Here's why.
It's on purpose, because I was explaining to Alex before we started recording that they figured out that Midwest, who was buying the majority of these vigilante movies, they didn't know what crack cocaine really was. Even after the president, sat down in a chair and told them. So they shifted after pretty much the hospital, where they just started calling it cocaine. And I noticed it the first time I watched it, and when I read about it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense, because they could have showed someone smoking out of a pipe, and most people, in Missouri where I'm from in '87 would have been like, what the fuck is that? A designer drug?
Right. That was it lived a lot. Well, crack lived a lot in the coasts at the time, and with.
Well, I'm sure L.A.
Yeah, and was marketed specifically to communities of color by the CIA. I don't see Bronson blowing up the CIA in this one. First of all, we'll get into that later.
Yeah. So this was the first one not directed by Alex Winter.
No, Michael Winter.
Michael Winter. So, Alex Winter is the guy.
Is the actor in 3.
Is who I always say don't
Preston Esquire.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was kind of kicked off this movie, even though he told everyone he was doing another movie. Really, it was because Bronson was like, I'm not working with that asshole anymore. And Bronson called the shots, which, by the way, made $4 million of the $5 to $8 million budget.
Damn.
Yeah, because he didn't want to do this. And, Goldman Globus is like, please come back and kill the crack. And they're like, we'll give you $2 million. He's like, no, $3 million. No, $4 million. All right. So you could tell in this, there's not, this is like bare minimum special effects for an action film. They've got a couple old cars exploding, maybe a flipped car, and some guns.
But we do get in the place of Michael Winter, we do get in Cape Fear director J. Lee Thompson, who, I'm saying Cape Fear, so it's like, oh my god, he did a good movie, but he basically spent the 80s making these kind of movies, though.
With Bronson.
Yeah, he did a few with Bronson, and then also just, I think, some other random action movies, too, and some Planet of the Apes movies, the later ones.
Yeah.
So he kind of had a second career after Cape Fear, and I think Guns of the Navajo were two bigger prestige movies, and then it was all downhill from there.
He did Murphy's Law a year before this, and that was very successful in the theater and on home video. So
with Bronson.
Yeah, with Bronson.
He had an action career after.
Well, Bronson and him were friends.
Yeah.
So
old dudes just hanging out.
Old dudes cashing paychecks.
Yep.
Oh man, this movie is produced and distributed by Canon Films. Oh god, I love you, Canon. I also love the Canon logo when it comes on and this movie starts, and it flies out at you, all the parts come at you from the sea. Do you guys remember that from that shitty video transfer I gave you?
Yes.
Yeah, I love Canon's logo. No matter how it reacts to the movie, I just love when it comes on.
It's a good logo.
It's a good logo, and it just it takes me to that certain time. The late '80s when everything was excess, and it's wonderful. Shall we tell the folks what this is about?
Explain the exciting box art.
Well, the box art is very boring. But just to mind you, we are watching a re-release from 1990 from Video Treasures Media and Image Entertainment, all of which sort of eventually just got swallowed into Image Entertainment, so they wouldn't have needed to have all these logos on here.
Yeah, it's a lot of logos.
But that means it's kind of a shitty transfer. The Video Treasures usually put the tapes on LP or EP mode, and this one's an LP, so it's a little bit better, but it's not in typical standard play mode where,
So it's fresh shit. It's not crusty shit.
Right. It's we're going to use a little less. We're going to put a little more information on a single strip of tape, but not all the information on a single strip of tape. So it's still shitty, but it's not as shitty as it could have been in extended play mode. But our cover is just Bronson with his name over him. Death Wish 4, the Crackdown. He's standing in front of the kids. The kids looking off, thinking about crack, I'm assuming, and he's got his gun over his shoulder, and he's squinting, ready for action. And the tagline is just, this time, it's war.
It wasn't before?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. And then we flip it over to the back here. We've got more Bronson with a gun action, still squinting. And then we've got our description here. So, Bronson, Death Wish 4, The Crackdown, starring Charles Bronson, K. Lenz, John P. Ryan. Superstar Charles Bronson, Death Wish 1, 2, 3, and The Magnificent Seven. Blows the drug underworld wide open in a blazing quest for justice and revenge in Death Wish 4, The Crackdown. Haunted by his violent past, architect Paul Kersey, Bronson, struggles to forget the brutal deaths of his loved ones and his obsessive one-man battle to avenge their murders. But when a dose of toxic crack, in quotation marks, kills the young daughter of his new girlfriend, Kay Lenz of Rich Man, Poor Man, Kersey again becomes the infamous vigilante crusader, vowing to wipe out the entire cocaine network in L.A. He skillfully goads two vicious competing drug empires into a bloody turf war. But there's a sinister force behind the scenes, Runaway Train's John P. Ryan, with his own diabolical plans for Kersey in this powerhouse action thriller.
Runaway Train. That was one
That's a great
Canon's,
movie.
That was one of Canon's most successful movies, and also just a dope movie.
I've never seen it.
We've talked about this in the past. You haven't seen it. It's if you'll like it right when you watch it. It is gritty, nasty, just. It is a man's movie.
Yeah, but also really the script is really good.
Yeah.
There's a really good Jon Voight performance in there back when he gave a shit.
Whoa, are you saying he didn't give a shit in our favorite snake movie of all time, Anaconda?
Oh, I was gonna invoke Super Babies, Baby Geniuses too.
Haven't seen it. I think less judging a little bit that you've seen it. Not really,
skip it. Okay. Or if you find a VHS of it, go for it.
Dive in. Oh man, yeah, nope, never seen Runaway Train. I'll have to get to it at some point. I probably would like it.
Yeah, you'll like it a lot.
How many Death Wish back in the boxes on these VHSs point out that he was in the Magnificent Seven? Do you think all 5 or all 4 from Canon or?
Yeah, they probably definitely bring up something. They either probably do that or like Once Upon a Time in the West or something.
Oh, yeah.
They probably are like Death Wish 1 through 4, Once Upon a Time in the West, or like Death Wish 1 through 3, Magnificent Seven, just to remind you like that he did used to be in real movies before these.
Yeah.
So let's pop in the tape where Canon was trying to make everyone forget about the embarrassment of 3, even though it's amazing.
Even though 3's the best movie they made.
It's Canon's masterpiece.
It really is quite wonderful. Really is. But I do think this one still is riding on the wave of that a little bit. It's not as fun, but at least it's not like a rapey movie like 1 and 2 are. So like at least we're like having a little bit of a good time.
Popping it in.
And now, our feature presentation.
And speaking of rape, the first scene was a dark, dim-lighted garage, underground garage, which I probably is the same garage used at the end of this film. I don't know. I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we see a bunch of men, a girl, a well-dressed woman is walking to her car. So we know she's going to be raped.
For a really, she's walking for a really long time as all of the opening credits, play over this. It's the largest garage in the world.
I also got the feeling that this was like a reshoot or something. Like, I know he wakes up and it's a dream when he kills the bad guys here that almost raped the woman. But
Spoiler
it felt
alert.
Well, I don't hope they're not watching this like a commentary, or do. I don't care. Live your life. Don't let me make decisions for you.
You might enjoy our commentary more than certain parts of this film.
It's a dream, and I just kept feeling like that was like a reshoot. They were like, we need to get to the killing faster.
Well,
AKA immediately.
Did you notice it was set up like a horror film?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And that really weird shot of him being like death when he points the gun at them, and it's just like he's sort of out of focus and the gun is in focus. And it's like sort of curved on him a little bit.
Yeah, they're using these really strange, and maybe they're trying to communicate that this is a dream.
Yeah.
That they make it look a little bit more surreal, and they use these really, really small fisheye lenses to make everything look weirdly everything's distorted at the edges.
Yeah.
And they have that shot where he's pointing the gun, and the gun is huge and his hand is huge, but he's kind of tiny.
Yeah.
It's an odd little sequence.
Yeah. It looks like some of the really bad drawn VHS covers. You'll see where someone's arm, where they're trying to do a perspective drawing, and you're like, it's not quite right.
Yeah, it's just their hand looks gigantic, and the rest of it does. It looks odd, but it does have a horror movie feel. He's still doing the 10 to midnight thing probably here, which is essentially a horror movie.
Yeah. Well, what I love is this is, Thompson and Bronson wanted to do a more serious movie, but they knew they had to put in cartoonish violence for, Canon to get it past their, whatever you'd call their little censors. They're like,
their standards.
Yeah, their standards.
Like, gotta have explosions, gotta have stupid shit.
The opposite of standards,
yes.
you could say.
Yes.
But, they wanted to get away from Bronson having to, kill people after someone in his family is raped. And literally the first scene, someone is almost raped. And I'm like, I kind of like the whole, Vader thing here, where he chases down the guy, he's playing with him, he shoots him, because it reminds me of the second one. And Alex, you'll try to remember that if you can. When we watch the second one, probably next year.
No taken.
Yeah. And he shoots him, but then he falls down and it's him. And I'm like, wait, so this movie, are they going to, have Paul Kersey question his actions? And then they fucking drop it.
It's never mentioned again. His bad dream is never mentioned again.
Why is this in this movie?
Yeah, I don't know. Like you're saying, question it. I've said before, and I think I might have said it in the Death Wish 5 episode, but Death Wish 4 weirdly kind of feels like the liberal one in a very conservative series. I know they're talking about crack, and it is, in the 80s, the black people's drug. I'm saying air quotes, it is still has that conservative racism, but this movie does it. It feels more, they're questioning the violence in the opening scene only, but still this one feels like the liberal one of the 5, I guess.
Well, yeah, it kind of starts with the beginning. Brown people sell to white people, and then we find out, no, it's actually the Colombian. I don't know who these Italian Colombians.
There's a kind of a racial ambiguity potpourri
going
on in the upper levels.
Yeah,
which I appreciate it.
And our main baddie is a white guy for a change in these movies.
It was the corporate, even though I don't want to ruin it yet, people, because I know you're listening to this for the exciting build up to the story's end. But basically, it was a corporate bad guy in a way, even though it's a new drug lord.
Yeah. But it's sort of different from just street gangs, minorities. It is now a rich white dude is the villain finally, and it is sort of suggesting he is pumping the crack into the system type thing, and it's okay, so they're questioning some things here and not just being the gangs are the problem.
I put a note that this is probably in Death Wish 4 parlance. It is probably the wokest Death Wish.
I think
they tried.
Yeah. I think they sprinkled a little bit of it, maybe because I know this was the fourth script idea. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm just guessing. I'm thinking they took parts, the parts in this movie that don't make sense to it were probably good parts from other movies. And they're this is so good, we gotta... And they never even questioned in the edit room, or maybe someone did, but they were fired, because you can't do that in Canon. That's fine. It just, this first scene, it just makes no sense for the rest of the movie. But, so, let's introduce our main characters. We have Paul Kersey, who looks to be very comfortable. He's got a girlfriend. Her name is Karen, and she is a reporter.
You remember?
I remembered. And I remembered the name of a female character in a Death Wish movie, which means that they kind of did something right.
They had a star, somewhat of an 80s star with Lenz, so they were let's give her something to do.
Not a lot.
But you remembered who she was this time, and I don't think you're going to have that with any of the other females in any of the other movies.
Well, I mean, she's a career woman. She looks very successful. She has a daughter, Erica. This is even though they're not married or anything like that, but they look like a well-adjusted threesome here. They
have a little family.
Little family, and it's going, not threesome in the sex way, people. It's not that type of Canon film. But, Erica's going out with Randy. When he pulls up in his fucking IROC, I was like, yes! But when you pull up in an IROC, that's trouble.
Yeah, he's bad news.
Yeah. They're dead. They got no shot.
And he's got a joint hanging out of his mouth when he pulls up, too. It's it's just so flagrant.
I do love the moment when Bronson is what do you think of that, Randy? When he's talking when he's talking to Karen.
The way he says Randy, from now on, the rest of my life, I'm never gonna trust a Randy. He's just like that Randy.
But the thing is, Randy.
The thing is that like they do position Randy as this bad boy, but he's also kind of a dweeb.
Yeah,
like he's a little bit of a dweeb.
He's like entry level into like doing drugs and running with it. He's like just getting his first taste of it type thing.
And Karen does say, "Oh, Randy gets good grades."
Yeah,
you know. So Randy's kind of got his shit together.
Yeah,
he's just a low key drug abuser.
He's a nerd and he wants to kind of break out of his box that he's been put in. So
maybe
he's like, I'm
impress
gonna
his girlfriend.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of drugs. I'm gonna hang around with the bad kids a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, everyone likes the bad boy image.
Yeah,
but you don't actually want to be a bad boy because then you're JoJo, who is the drug sailor. That he's a bad boy, and just right when they show him, I go, okay, we've got our first cartoonish villain.
Oh yeah, he's got like the checkered blazer, like some like Cheap Trick looking shit, and he will cut a bitch immediately. That I thought was so funny.
Can we sidebar here on what they went to? They went to an 80s arcade / bumper cars / roller rink? Or was the roller rink only at the end?
That was only at the end.
So that's a different arcade.
Yeah, but they went to like the fucking like Boardwalk Carnival for their drugs for sure.
Oh man, that place was awesome, and I so want to just like take a time machine and I want to just go there and play.
That place was bustling too.
Yeah,
like, that was the like most happening place in LA. That might have been the Santa Monica Pier, considering they're in LA.
Yeah, why not shoot there?
Right, exactly.
So do you think that, that place really existed? That's what the 80s were like?
Well, the Santa Monica Pier exists, and I have been there several times. I lived in LA for 5 years. It did not look like that. There were never that many people there.
Yeah. Last time I was in LA, I went over there too, and it was just kind of sad.
It was desolate. Yeah. But I'm betting at that time, it could have.
It was bustling and hip, and it's like arcades that have since gone away. That sort of world of the arcades and bumper cars and carnival circus sort of attractions. We're done with that.
Yeah. So I'm assuming Randy here was coming to the arcade. He'd get some weed. But then JoJo takes Erica and he's like, let me give you something special. And it's crack. Yeah. And he doesn't tell her how to use it or anything. He's just like, there you go. So I'm assuming she just like fucking swallowed it.
And that's why she dies.
Yeah.
Because there were no instructions given on how to freebase it. Like how to like this is how you do.
In most drug movies, when they give them something free, they'll take them to the side and like have them, show them how to do it.
Yeah,
I mean,
make
it's not
them
like
do it in front of them. Or, And instead, he's just like, here's some crack. And she's like, thanks. Dead.
Next scene. Oh, and we didn't mention Erica was given exactly one character trait before this moment, and that was that she hung out at Paul Kersey's architecture studio.
Yes,
which, by the way, it looks like he settled in nicely because he's got his own firm. And she goes, hey, look, I've been doing some sketches too. And then he kind of like gently negs her after he looks at these. He's like, they're good. They're not great, but they're pretty damn good. And I'm like, damn, Paul Kersey. Just faint
tough
praise.
Love.
Yeah.
Tough love.
Yeah.
Like, you can do better, but it's okay.
But that's it. Otherwise, she is a prop. Like that is.
She is used as a tool to get this movie going.
Yeah, she's there to die.
And it happens fast.
Yeah.
This all happens within like 10 minutes, folks.
Yeah, this is what I like about this movie too, is that this would be the whole movie in another Death Wish, but this is the first 10 minutes of this one.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so we get to play a little bit in this one.
And then 5 minutes later, he's fucking electrocuting JoJo.
Yes. Yes. So like I like the way this motherfucker moves.
Because it cuts back after she gets the drugs. It cuts back and it's Karen, kind of like, when are we going to get married? And he's like, whoa, I don't know about that, because I'm assuming he hasn't told her about his first wife and daughter, which were brutally murdered, and then he had to go and blow people up.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm assuming there's no honesty.
His wife was brutally murdered. Then his daughter was brutally murdered.
In the sequel. Spoilers, Alex is here and he hasn't seen them.
I think he could figure it out.
Yeah, they mention it many times.
Yeah. So then they get a call that they go to the hospital, and the mom, here's my note, mom reacts as if her cat just died.
Right. Well, and Bronson doesn't react at all.
He's
just like, well, I guess this is happening
Well,
again.
honestly, maybe they were thinking, like, he's seen this so many times, it's like, oh, time to go to work.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
like a better actor. I never, even in the good movies, or the generally considered to be good movies, I never thought Bronson was a good actor.
I don't
a
think...
better actor could have on his face, like, the reaction of, like, I've got to do this again, or here we go again. But you pretty much just get the look that's on the front cover.
Yeah.
They pull the sheet back, they see your face, cut to Bronson, he's just stone-faced. Like,
you know, the whole time we were watching this, sorry to digress, but the other night, Matt and I went to see Cold Pursuit, the new Liam Neeson movie. And there are a lot of similarities, first of all, except that Cold Pursuit is very aware of what it is and kind of weird and funny as a result. But in comparison to Bronson, like, Neeson can do that.
Yeah, Neeson, you see the gears turning behind his eyes.
But yeah, he seems very stoic, and but like, he's doing a lot with a little.
Yeah.
And I really just, like, in that moment, I was, like, appreciating, like, how a really great actor can, like, do something with that. Bronson can't do that.
Bronson's never been a good actor.
No,
limited range.
The year before, when Bruce Willis was coming out with Die Hard, and I rewatched Die Hard a couple months ago, you forget how, like, well he could take just his physical appearance in his face. You know, he just he emotes just a little bit, and it pulls off really well.
Yeah.
Like, Bronson's face, I don't think works anymore. I don't think it's his fault, even though I'm not defending his acting in anything in the past, because I've never seen him do it. But I think at this point, his, like, motor skills in his face, they don't work.
Well, and you know what? I'll give him a little bit of credit, because the fidelity on this VHS tape was so crappy that honestly I couldn't, like, even if he was doing something subtle, which he probably wasn't, I couldn't tell. Just because of the image quality.
Man, I'm assuming he smoked a lot, because his face is just, I mean, he's 66, so I get it, we all get wrinkles. But his wrinkles
looks weathered.
Yeah.
A little long in the tooth.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of tanning.
Yeah.
And, like, like the cancer tanning and smoking, probably.
Yeah, I'm assuming, because he's a badass and nothing will ever kill him.
Except death.
Yeah. Well, he does have a wish for it.
Yep. That's right.
So he decides, it's time to go back to work. He goes to the arcade, and Randy is also... Well, I think he follows Randy. That's how he gets to the arcade.
Yes.
And then Randy's like, man, I'm going to the cops. And I was thinking, Randy, what are you doing? You just go to the cops.
Yeah, you don't tell the guy that can murder you that you're going to go to the cops and tell him what he did.
Oh, and by the way, editor, whoever's putting this together, when you have bumper cars slamming together, your audience is like, uh-oh, he's going to get shot. And then JoJo just stabs him, and I'm like, why put in the loud bashing? I guess they were trying to set up the electrocution, but... Yeah, someone didn't know how to do this.
Well, I also think, and I actually made a note about this too, because they do it again at the roller rink towards the end of the movie. There's a lot of violent cross-cutting, and I think they're just trying to use the sound and the environment of what they're around to, like, create some sort of tension. Yeah. It's quite sloppy.
Yeah.
Though.
Well, you just have JoJo shoot him right when something slams, and the whole audience would have been like, "Yeah, that works. Yeah. That would totally work, man. That's how you kill someone in a not a roller rink. Bumper car place."
Yeah, I will just, to sort of defend that choice though a little bit.
Oh, I can't wait for this.
No, it's not that much of a defense. It's just like, this is not Michael Winner here. Like, this is somebody who at least is trying. Like,
they're trying for something,
or like. Even if J. Lee Thompson is, an old guy and just sort of coasting, he still has an awareness of making a film. Whereas Michael Winner is just a crazy person and just is like, put the camera here, kill all the black people. Like, that's
gag to gag.
He has no concept of, like, filmmaking. He just puts his own, like, crazy conservatism just, like, on screen instead of just... make a movie.
Yeah. Well, it's a little blocky, but there is a grasp at artfulness.
Right, there's a grasp at a technique here.
it's just a gloss of it, because
it's not. It doesn't always work, and I'm not defending that it works. I'm just saying at least we have a director who is trying here to make a movie, a competent movie.
Yeah. So Bronson chases JoJo onto a roof, and then he shoots JoJo. JoJo falls into the top of the bumper cars and electrocutes it. It's like the third rail. Yeah. On the train. And I was like, is that something that happens? Who cares? Let's keep going.
Yeah, we're at minute 15 now. I noted that in my notes. I said, minute 15, first person's dead, got electrocuted.
Yep. So we got an electrocution in it. We've gotten shot, stabbed, and we have an overdose. So it's okay, we're going. And this is 15 minutes in.
Yeah. So we're moving.
And then some ridiculous punk tells the cops, yeah man, I saw the last 3, and he tells them, and that guy was just, the detective goes, it says something to him, he goes, I don't know, what am I, a fucking detective? And I was like, whoa.
I wrote again a note, guy in torn tank top and eyeliner, surprisingly cooperative with cops.
Yeah, he just tells them everything, and then basically flicks off the cops.
Yeah.
I was amazed at that.
Yeah. He's like, hey, I'm going to be super cooperative and give you a lot of information. Fuck you!
I just did your job for you!
So Paul Kersey then gets a note underneath his door, and then when this is overkill, I think, by the bad guy here. He gives him a note, and he picks up the note, and he reads it. He's like, I'll go to the cops if something, I don't know, it's a threat. And then he gets a phone call, and I'm like, why don't you just call him?
Did you get my note? Also, the note was very just hastily scrawled on a scrap of paper. It's actually, you could have very easily not found that.
Just walked right over.
Could have just been like, let me throw that away, that's garbage.
And what if he's like us now, who doesn't want to answer the phone, so he just walks past it? What happens then?
Yeah. This whole movie would never have happened.
Yeah. It's I'm not going to answer that. It's probably a telemarketer.
So then Kersey has to go and talk to this tabloid, Nathan White, who's his voice. Let me play just a little bit here.
Mr. Kersey. Or should I say, Mr. Vigilante?
Listen, if this is about blackmail, you're wasting your time. This place must be worth more than what I can make.
I love that voice. There's not a lot of things in this movie I like, but that man's voice, I wish he would do my voicemail.
It's a good voice.
Welcome to the phone of Stephen Bay.
Please leave your name and number after the tone.
So this rich guy explains that his wife died and his daughter became his entire life, and then his daughter died of an overdose, which Kersey can relate to. Sure. Because he basically felt Erica from Vacation, by the way. We never mentioned that. That's the...
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell because of the low fidelity on the video.
Well, that, and she's only in 4 minutes of the movie.
That's definitely Audrey.
Yeah,
that
it's
definitely
Audrey.
is.
Yeah.
You the grown-up Audrey, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And so he's just like, I want you to hunt down everyone who does the drugs in LA. And he's like, and don't worry about working and being a detective, Paul Kersey. Here's the entire script in front of you. Just go kill him.
He just hands it all to them. He says one thing that I really glommed onto in his big speech. He said the phrase, this is word for word, anybody connected with drugs deserves to die. Which... that is probably the most late 80s thing. Yeah. That is such, war on drugs, Reagan era.
Yeah,
anybody who touches this stuff needs to be brutally murdered and wiped off the face of the earth.
This movie kind of has a mixed message about drugs, because at one point we hear Karen goes after her daughter dies. Well, first we have the funeral, and Paul Kersey gets kind of irritated at Karen because she's like, oh, it's my fault. if I'd have spent more time with her, and he pulls over to the side, he goes, no, it's not your fault. It's the drug's fault. Then we get the editor at the newspaper when Karen wants to do a report on drug use. He's like, no one cares about drugs anymore. Everyone does drugs. No one wants to read about that crap. And I'm like, wait. And then you said right there, like, everyone who is involved with drugs deserves to die. So what is it?
That's the bad guy says that line. So I feel like I feel like Kersey's fired up because, I mean, if he could act, we could see this maybe, but he's fired up about the situation because his new daughter, I guess, sort of in a way, like his almost adopted daughter is killed. So he is fired up about the situation. But I think the real message of the movie is that guy has gone too far, wanting to kill everybody and Bronson realizes that. Again, a better actor could maybe translate that.
But also a better script. We need to funnel this into one general theme. Are we doing it that, like, our youth is being destroyed by the drug dealers and sellers and all this? I thought that was the general theme we were going to go into, but it just splinters all over the place. Like, everyone's doing... Like, I just think if you would have flowed it into one, it would have worked better. Like, we could have felt sorry for the youth of America, because we have 2 daughters who are dead from overdoses from crack cocaine.
I think what it's trying to do, and maybe it just doesn't work, is play the middle ground of, like, it's terrible, it's killing our kids, it's bad, but we can't go around killing everybody doing drugs.
Well,
like, we just have to keep it away from our kids.
That's where you're wrong, because Paul Kersey can.
Well, and I also think, whenever you make an argument, you're supposed to provide a counter argument. At least that's what you're taught. And I think that was them sort of paying lip service to the counter argument. Where, like, nobody cares about this. It's just so inundated into our culture. And it's like, no. Like, that's what the movie seems to be saying. Like, we need to do something about this.
We should also mention when Karen is set up to write the story, she goes to the hospital, which is such a afternoon special for kids. Like, hey, drugs are bad. This is what could happen to you. But that is so comical, where they pull the doctor's like, "Are you sure you want to see these?" Or the coroner, and she's like, "I must for the for the story." And he pulls it up, and the eyes are open on 2 of the bodies. I'm like, no, that's not how that works. They close the eyelids, but it's clearly like
it's to make it look as horrific as possible.
It's so cheesy, and it to me, it just took me right out of it because it's not serious at all anymore. And like, this is supposed to be the serious scene.
Yeah,
but Canon can't figure out a way to fucking make these films right. I mean, or they're under the thumb of Canon, where they're not allowed to make these movies right. Either one of those.
I think it's just a very fumbled, like, preachy moment. But I will also note that after we see Karen delve into this, because she's a journalist, she has her own life, she's going to go do this thing, like that's her way of coping with her daughter's death, is making sense of it by writing this story. We get like a scene and a half with her doing that investigative reporting, then she disappears for an hour. No more developments on that story. I thought it was going to be sort of back and forth. We were going to get sort of like a proto B-movie version of Traffic or something. But then Nope, that ain't happening. And then the rest of the movie is just Paul Kersey shooting people, just checking names off a list.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be she was going to be investigating this, and then she would figure out that it was Paul Kersey as the vigilante.
Wow, that would have been a better movie.
I wonder if that was in one of the other scripts, and they have mashed them sort of together and took like a greatest hits of it without. Going on the full journey.
But instead, we don't see Kersey interact with Karen for the next hour. We only see him shooting drug dealers until it becomes necessary for the plot for Karen to get kidnapped by the big bad.
Yes.
And then she becomes a prop.
Yep.
How convenient that she's still alive and she can be used. But so then it just starts going down the normal format of a death wish. Even though it kind of feels James Bondy, because he's using a lot of gadgets. The first one is he pretends to be, I don't know, like one of the caterers.
Yeah.
And he just walks straight into this.
He's got the perfect outfit already, and he's like...
The tuxedo. He's in disguise. He does a lot of disguises in this movie.
Yeah.
So one of the head gangsters is having a birthday party, and he has got to be based off of Golem from Canon. where he's just over the top, and there's girls, and running around in bikinis. He's like, I'm the life of the party, and he's blowing out nipple candles.
And he's got 2 caterpillars for eyebrows.
Yeah.
That's Zacharias. Ed Zacharias.
Zacharias. And he's running one part of the drug family.
Did you guys catch who one of his goons was?
Yes.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
Danny Trejo with a bad haircut.
Baby Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo.
Right. I'm sure he was probably 5 years removed from prison.
Yeah.
Because I believe he got out of prison in the early 80s or maybe late 70s, somewhere.
I think he did stunts on Runaway Train. He worked on some of those on some of those Canon movies. He was at that time, before he started getting into that stuff, he became Eric Roberts' assistant. That's who he was for a while.
Really?
Yes. Somebody told me this story. Somebody in the biz told me this story about him being Eric Roberts' assistant. And I think he was his assistant on the set of Runaway Train. And that sort of got him into this. And he did stunt work too.
Yeah.
And
But I
what
think
a wild time that must have been. Can you imagine being Eric Roberts' assistant in the 80s?
Yeah.
Woo!
Well, imagine Danny Trejo being like, you know what? This is better than prison. This is better than prison.
I wonder if he got out of it because he was like, this is scarier than prison. Because it's Eric fucking Roberts.
Oh, man. That dude fucking partied hard.
But Trejo has lines in this movie, too. He's a character.
You could tell right away, even in his 2 minutes of talking. I was like, yeah, he can perform in front of the camera.
Yeah,
he's got a presence for sure. You're just like,
great.
Who's that guy? Yeah. And then he blows up.
So when he sneaks in and he's tapping these phones, these old landlines. Yeah. Kids, these are the things that had cords on them and were attached to the wall sometimes. Very odd, unique, very old. You can probably go to a museum and see them. Or your grandma's house.
This sequence happens multiple times too.
Yes.
The same thing happens multiple times in this movie where he sneaks into a house, starts tapping the phones by unscrewing the receiver and cramming something in there and screwing it back in. And then guys show up. He needs to go tiptoe away and hide somewhere. He inevitably gets found out because he's very bad at hiding. And then he has to kill somebody. And that happens every time. We never see him actually gaining reconnaissance, gaining information.
Right. He is the worst fucking vigilante.
He's the worst spy.
Yeah.
He's a bad spy.
He's so bad. He's a vigilante because he's a terrible spy. He's like, well, now I have to kill him.
Right, yeah. Otherwise they'll squawk. I gotta just shoot him in the face.
So yeah, he sees a murder because this guy's over the top, and we meet the other crime boss family, which is a little bit of the lesser family. They're not as powerful,
not as flashy.
Yeah, they're the blue collar of the.
They're the other guys. Yeah, and most of them, like you said, are white or at least ethnically ambiguous.
Yeah, I don't. One of them seems kind of Italian and Cuban and...
Yeah, there was a Colombian. They sort of mention Colombians for a while.
So, this is a very... they like to hire a lot of different groups. They like to see the perspectives of everyone. How do you handle the drug trade?
Yeah.
Ooh, you put them in fish? That's a good idea. We're going to borrow that.
Yeah, they go away very quickly from what I was suspecting. The racist stereotype of the low-level drug dealer. It's they jump past that very quickly, which I actually kind of appreciated.
Yeah, the woke Death Wish here.
Yeah, woke Death Wish. All right,
love it.
And very little the only that beginning dream sequence had any sexual violence in it.
Yeah, that's why I felt like that was a reshoot too, because it was we don't have any rape in this movie. It's I'll put it in a dream sequence then, right. Because there isn't any in the rest of the film. I did want to point out when they blow up Danny Trejo, my favorite thing in the world is the two dummies that are still just sitting there still before they explode. Yes.
Oh man, you don't even have to pause to see it.
No,
it's just
yeah. It's great.
But yeah, after in the party, the one guy stabs him, and then Kersey, of course, gets caught, like you said.
Yeah.
And then they carry out the body. This made me laugh when he just bashes the guy in the face with a crowbar.
Yeah.
And then smacks the hood on him, I cracked up at that because I'm like, yeah, that's what a 66-year-old man can. It's not like he can like fight him.
Yeah, he's all one punch Kersey in this movie. Yeah. Just one punch and they're down.
Yeah.
So
does that a lot too.
Yeah, he goes and he's the wine distributor.
Oh, the wine. That's my favorite. Like when he screws the bomb into the wine bottle and he's in his little disguise as the wine salesman. So funny.
I'd like to offer you a sample to try. And the bartender's like, okay. Can I give it to some of your customers? Well, no.
Well, this was the only time I saw Bronson use a little bit of charm. I mean, it's his max charm that he's got. He's like, come on, this is great free. We all were up at the Napa Valley, and then he's giving him. But I love Danny Trejo. He's like, don't I recognize you?
Yeah. And I never forget a face. Cut to boom. And I'm pretty sure, doesn't Bronson just like kind of smack him and run away before? Before the wine bomb
and then he
goes
is
off.
Completely out of the room, and then it's just the dummies and an entire place engulfed in flames. Like that slow ass motherfucker didn't get out of there that fast.
No. And my question here is, did Bronson just have this like wine gag ready to go, like in the event that somebody close to him gets murdered and he has to go back out there?
We never see his cue, his supplier of weapons, because the super baddie White gives him just like, here, whatever you need, call this number.
That's right.
I kind of wish they would have put in the James Bond, he's just
here,
like,
check it out, I got a wine bomb for you. Here's a rocket launcher, like.
I like in my head thinking that Bronson, though, just comes up with all these gags himself.
Well, and Homeboy definitely did have a stockpile of weapons, because there is that bit near the end of the movie where he pulls his fridge out and there's just like a gun safe right behind the fridge with a lot of high-powered weapons in there.
Oh, there's my M16 with a grenade launcher. It's going to work. Yeah, so he definitely, his vigilante days were not past him. He was just dormant.
Yeah, he's just waiting for the next time to be needed.
He was waiting for his next girlfriend to get murdered or whatever.
Because we meet the two detectives. I only remember one of the detectives' names. It was Detective Nozaki.
Yeah, the Asian detective. Yeah. Also, I wrote progressive ? But nope, turns out he's a bad guy.
Yeah. Well, we couldn't have the old white man be the bad guy.
Yeah, I'd rather have an Asian bad guy, because in these movies, there's usually no Asians ever. So at least they're giving an Asian actor work here. Yeah. So I'll take that. Good. Yeah, he's even in like the credit block. I thought was weird.
I've seen him. I've seen him in other '80s movies.
So he must have some clout if he's in the credit block.
I mean, could you imagine Colm and Golbis like watching this and they're like, why isn't he a ninja cop? And
right.
And they're like,
God, an Asian that's not a ninja in a Canon movie.
Like, I almost don't care that he's a bad guy, because it's not as offensive as it could have been.
At least there's some representation. Period.
Well, so the cops, they explain to you that it's been 2 years since the vigilante has killed, because he used the same gun to kill whoever 2 years ago as he did this time around at some point. Oh, I guess because he killed JoJo with the same gun.
Right.
So they go and they've got like 18 names of people with the last 3 digits of their license plate. They go to him, they question him, and right away they're like, well, kind of watch him. I don't know what they do, but either way. So we get introduced to these two cops, and they do play big roles, both of them, in a way.
Kind of.
I wonder, again, if there was another script where this all would have lead up to a better build-up at the end.
Well, I think, it's like, because the first movie has it where you're following both Kersey in his journey and the cop trying to catch him. That's sort of the first movie. Mm-hmm. I think what they could have done here is, like we mentioned, where like the investigative journalist, his girlfriend, could have been figuring out, or the cops, and they couldn't figure out what they wanted to do, so they kind of just did both half-assed instead of having, the two parallel stories like the original movie does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were somewhat trying. It just, at the end, I don't think... Because there's no real build-up. I never have a fear that Kersey could die in this.
No, not at all. He puts himself in a lot of really stupid situations, too, and he always just comes out unscathed, which is... Oh wait, because he always gets caught. He like always, no matter what he's doing, he gets caught. But then he just like kills people without a problem.
because they're just like introducing bad guys, Kersey kills. Introduce bad guys, Kersey kills. Yeah. Which, by the way, if he killed that bartender with the bomb, Kersey, you're killing some innocent people there. Yeah.
Well, you know what? He's involved with the drug trade in some tangential
and anybody who
anyone who's
near drugs needs to die.
Now, I couldn't think of a more 1987 thing in this movie than realizing that there is a conglomerate of drug dealers operating out of the front of a video rental store.
Which is Canon's office, it looks like.
Yes. Oh, because there are just posters for Canon films everywhere. And weirdly, a ceiling ornament advertising the Martin Scorsese movie After Hours.
I saw the cutout of Leatherface.
Yeah,
for Texas
TCM2. Yeah.
I just love their self-promotion. They they don't give a shit. And the funny thing is like I found out that is supposed to be a porn movie making, whatever, a production house. Yeah, a video store and porn. They're supposed to be scummy. Yeah. They don't really do a good job of showing that porn because I had no idea.
And like I said, it looks like they're just shooting in Canon's offices at this point. Yeah. Like it doesn't even look like
it has to be.
Like it looks like they went to like their stock room and they were like, "We'll turn it into a video store," and then they were like, "Just put our shit in the halls," you know. Or that office just looks like that all the time, which I also wouldn't be surprised about.
Right.
I wish I would have paused. Well, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered because I couldn't see it on this VHS. But I'd love to see a restore of this. I want to see what all those posters were.
Hey, this is available from Image Entertainment on laser video disc. You might be able to see it there.
And beautiful laser disc quality.
I will say, because I saw these movies on DVD first, because I picked up like the set that has 2, 3, 4 in it. After I sort of fell in love-hate with the first one. I was like, this is terrible. I need to see the rest. So I bought like this was an MGM release or whatever. The transfers are pretty good on the DVD, so you could definitely like pause it and see some of the stuff that's in there. Like it's not the usual MGM cropped like a fake widescreen.
Sure.
It's like they did a good job. I think it's because they did it for their channel, their MGM HD channel, and then just popped them on a quick DVD. So they look pretty good.
Nice.
So you can actually see some stuff in here, but I'm not saying go out and run and buy those DVDs, because if you're interested in this, Shout Factory is inevitably going to put out a set of all of them. Just wait, guys. Like, it's coming.
Yeah.
All the Bronson you can handle.
And maybe some of the Bronson you can.
His long lost butt scenes.
Ooh. Don't want to see that at all.
Put that visual in your mind.
No, thank you.
So... then he goes off somewhere to the distribution of the drugs, and this is so clumsy. He is just terrible. He walks in with a lunchbox, has like, I don't know, a mechanic or something that's
got a weird, like an Uzi slipcase in there.
Yes.
I don't know. It's very strange.
I love how he has an Uzi with a silencer, because, you know, everyone who uses an Uzi wants to be nice and quiet. No, when you have an Uzi, you want to fucking light shit up.
Right.
I don't know. Whatever. It's Paul Kersey. So he sneaks into there, and we see that they're putting drugs in the fish, cutting open the fish, and pulling them out. And that's why we need a wall, folks. We need to build a wall so they can't use ships. Shit, that wouldn't work.
Yeah. They're bringing in the drugs in fish via barges.
Yeah, this is... I could see Trump watching this movie. He's like, oh no, we need a wall in the ocean, too.
Ocean wall.
And the ocean's going to pay for it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Always here for that.
I needed to sneak Trump into this somehow. Just so we can...
Can we sneak him into one of these Death Wish movies as a villain so we could pop his fucking head off already?
If we write the script, MGM might just let us.
Yeah, they're on Remake City right now. We could do it.
Yeah. They already did the first remake. They're like, whatever. Like, let's just try it again. It's okay.
Yeah. So you were mentioning One Punch Kersey.
Yeah.
When he just like bashes the guy in the back of the head, and I'm like, oh, so I guess he's out.
Yeah, that's
Kersey can't do anymore.
Yep. One Punch Kersey.
Yeah. So
you only need one.
I bet he was like one shot Bronson. He's just like, let's get it in the first one because I got to go back to my trailer and smoke a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah. He's gotta hit the links after they
gotta make tea time.
Yep. him and Clint have a tea time.
They probably did.
Yeah. So he's trying to pin these bad guys against each other, and he goes after the Romero. No, what was the other?
I don't fucking remember.
I don't know.
Romero's one of the bad guys.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Is it?
The Romero brothers.
Because they said it a
Romero
fucking
brothers.
1,000 times in the movie, and that's why it's in my
Well,
head.
every time they said it, I thought about George Romero, and I'm just like, man, I wish he was the bad guy. With like his giant glasses. If they would have did a fake Romero in the porn production place.
Oh, that would have been funny.
That
would have been cute.
Yeah. We have his top hitman, which is a baritone, big football player looking...
Oh, what's his name? Frank something. I wrote it down because he is comically verbally abusive to his wife.
Oh, this guy.
Frank Barnes.
This section of the movie might be my favorite just because it's just like they're just so shitty to each other.
Yeah.
And then, he inevitably gets thrown out of a window and lands on the car. Perfectly lands on the car.
Yeah, right when she says, I wish he just dropped dead.
And then, that's pretty great. He says to his wife once, at one point, the phrase, "You eat like a damn whore." I don't even know what that means.
Oh, I thought it was horse.
I heard hog.
God damn it. Will you hurry up? We're going to be late.
My zipper's stuck.
That's because you eat like a damn horse. Drop some weight, why don't you?
Drop dead, why don't you?
Wow.
I heard hog.
Guys, this is the quality of the VHS that we are...
Yeah, because I was like, well, because she puts on that dress, which she finds tacky. Now, they clearly, this is a funny little, I don't know if this is based off someone they know, because they're just bantering back and forth. You eat like a horse. And she's like, I thought you liked this dress. And he goes, you look cheap. And she's like, yeah, but it's easy to get off. And he goes, oh, it's true. You know, like...
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, yes, that's why we're with each other, because we like fucking.
Yeah, we hate fuck each other every night.
Yeah, that's like, I feel like that's a trope in a lot of these movies where it's like these people like hate each other, but then like they just like have like really intense sex later, and that's like why they're together. I don't know.
Well, also
the played out.
This is definitely like an 80s yuppie.
Yeah. They said he had a baritone. One of the characteristics of this man is a baritone voice, and I'm like, please sing, because they mentioned he's going to the opera,
right?
And he like really likes the opera, and I kind of loved it because he looks like a man's, like football player. I work out, I eat steaks.
Opera singer.
Like, but he likes the opera. Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, I thought that was really nice. And then he's like, "Oh, I forgot the tickets upstairs." So he has to go back up to his condo.
So
and
this
then,
is
of course,
same sequence.
And Kersey's putting the wiretap on the phone, and he gets caught.
And it does the same thing where he stops, like kind of looks both ways and then like tiptoes away like it's some sort of cartoon. So funny. And then like naturally he gets caught. And there is maybe it was just the mood I was in, but this made me laugh so much.
Oh yeah.
Where Frank finds Kersey hiding in the kitchen and he goes, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And Paul Kersey goes, "I was making a sandwich." And then they just start fighting. I thought that was so funny.
Come on out, asshole. Come on out. And what the fuck are you doing here?
And there's Bronson would get his ass beat by this man
who's like twice his size
and half his age.
And then they're like, it's funny too because the guy's taking off his like tuxedo jacket, and then Kersey like punches him in the stomach and slams him into a TV.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and he kind of gets like a little electrocuted.
Yeah. So I thought right when he bashed into the TV, I thought it would cut him all up and like his face would melt from electric.
Yeah.
But
they didn't have the budget for that.
No, it was going in Kersey's pocket instead of on screen. So then he just throws him out the window. She says the line. He lands on the car. We get Kersey sneaking out with the cops coming in.
Yeah, but Nozaki sees him.
Yeah, Nozaki sees him, but doesn't say anything.
Right.
He knows.
And that's where we know something's up with Nozaki.
Yeah.
Something's going on.
I was wondering... this movie tricked me. I did not see it coming that he was a bad guy. I thought he was going to start helping Kersey take out the drug lords.
Again, I have a feeling you were just imagining a more interesting movie than this movie was, which I did several times.
Well, yeah, and it didn't happen.
And that still makes me think a script, maybe there is a version where that is what happens, like I wonder if this is just an amalgam of different script ideas that they smashed together.
When I explain the 3 other scripts, because I think this was the 4th one they went with, maybe we can come up with our theories. Because I can only give you the general theories, or, well, basically what people have said, rumors about them. Sure. So we get Nozaki meeting with the drug lord, and he's like, I know who's doing the killing. And I love how the drug lord doesn't go, the Romero brother doesn't, no wait, this wasn't.
I think that might have been Zachariah.
Yeah, this is Zachariah, the caterpillars.
Yeah.
He's just like, okay, he never asked who it was, he just says, kill him, find out who it is, who he's working for, and kill him. And I'm like, no, you're paying the cop to be on your side to tell you information.
Right. He doesn't care about the information. He wants the cop to kill him. And Nozaki goes, I don't do that.
And he goes, you do now.
What are you, crazy? You're not supposed to come to this house.
It's important. I think I know who's been giving you trouble.
Does he work for the Romeros?
Not as far as I can tell. He also killed Boggs.
Then who does he work for?
Yeah.
I was like, dun, dun, dun!
I remember a lot more about this movie. Like, there's a lot more, like, character in this movie than in 5.
I think the pace of this movie is actually good.
Yeah.
This movie flies by.
Yeah.
It really does. Like, I don't want to say I'm never bored, because there are, basically when stuff isn't blowing up, I'm not really paying attention. But
at about this point in the movie, it gets a little boring.
But I'm not terribly, bored. It moves pretty well. This one's, like I said, I like this one a little bit. So
Detective Nozaki gets he goes to Paul Kersey's office, and then he confronts him, and Kersey basically just shoots him. I thought this was going to be like a really intense moment, but it ends pretty quickly.
Yeah, like most things in this movie. It ends pretty quickly and tidily, and Bronson walks away unscathed.
Yeah. And then Bronson dumps his body in a jogging trail. The other detective finds him the next morning. Well, no, I mean, he arrives at a murder scene, finds out that it's his partner. So now this detective has, revenge on his mind. Because he finds out that it's Paul Kersey because Nozaki left a list with Kersey's name circled. And I love how he's trying to keep this all secret. And he fucking just leaves the list with his name circled.
He just circles his name very obviously on this sheet of paper that he leaves on his desk.
And conveniently leaves it in the middle of his desk.
Right.
But then we Kersey sets up the two giant drug lords to meet. They're meeting in an oil field because that's cheap to shoot at.
Yeah,
and
it overlooks the city. It's got a kind of a nice scenic.
Yeah, and they meet. Paul Kersey's got a sniper rifle, shoots one of them. They think it's a setup, so both sides kill each other.
Yeah,
but Kersey gets to personally take out Caterpillar Face.
Yes.
Who are you? I'm the guy that set you up.
Why? I don't even know the girl.
I do.
Yes.
It's not really that exciting, though. He's just like... Yeah. Does he say the death line in this one, too?
Or is that late? No, that might be here. Or is that when he kills the top guy?
Oh, I don't remember.
He says the death line from the beginning of the movie, from the dream sequence.
No, I think that was here.
That's
because he doesn't say anything to the big bad in the end. The big bad just kind of squawks at him for a while,
and then he shoots a rocket launcher at him.
At him, yes. Wow, that's another one where you just see a dummy go
and then just
up.
go up. Yeah.
you can do that in any movie. I'm going to enjoy a dummy blowing up, especially with the the 1 or 2 frames where you can tell it's a dummy.
Where it's just something standing there completely like wooden and then explodes.
Or
Charles Bronson standing there completely wooden.
It's mostly what he does in this film. So he kills him, and then he goes to meet White. White calls him. He's like, let's meet. He goes to the middle of nowhere. White's limo is there. White did not show up. But he's like, you know what? I'm going to give you a ride to White. He got busy. And then the guy just runs away. And Bronson's like, hey, what are you doing? And then and he gets into another car. And I'm like, okay, so what is this? But it takes the car like a few minutes to blow up. It's like, just enough time for Kersey to get out the back window. Right. This is awful.
Yeah.
This is come on, guys.
White kind of fucked up here.
Or they just like, man, this is going to take... He doesn't want to use a stuntman. This is going to take like 5 minutes for him to crawl out the back.
Bronson's like, I got to do it myself.
Like if they would have showed that idiot like trying to like hitting the switch to blow up the bomb and being like, it's not working. At least they would have set up something. Like just make this guy a nincompoop, where he's like, I can't figure it out.
Yeah, the timing's a little odd there.
Yeah, it's that whole scene right there probably needed to be reshot. But, Bronson's like, we did it in 1, let's go.
Yeah. He also, so from there he tries to find, he goes back to White's place, as I understand. Is that after that?
And then we find out Nathan White isn't Nathan White.
It's a third drug lord who was posing as Nathan White, tabloid mogul,
it's clever
to get
in a way.
It was a pretty solid twist.
I didn't see it. I knew Nathan White was going to be the bad guy. I mean, to me, but I didn't know he was going to be a third drug lord.
It's just taking out the competition.
And I noticed in the credits, he doesn't actually ever have a name. In the credits, he's Nathan White. So I'm like, oh wow, they never even gave this guy a name.
Yeah, his actual name.
I'm not Nathan White. Then that's the end of the conversation.
Right.
I wish the credits just said not Nathan White.
Not Nathan White. And then the other guy who actually is Nathan White gets credited as the real name.
Nathan White.
And then he pulls off his mask and he's actually like a Jamaican or a Jamaican warlord. And I was just like, that's the canon I know.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
No, but they stuck with it. So kind of good for them. And then it turns into Kersey just hunting down Nathan White because Nathan White gets fake White, I guess. He gets some fake cops. Kersey knows it. Kersey escapes. Just to speed this up, Kersey escapes. The car flips. Kersey crawls out of it. And then we get the other detective finds Kersey.
They kidnap Karen.
Yeah, they kidnap Karen because they need someone.
Yeah, Karen shows up back in the movie just in time to get kidnapped.
And die. In the very end of the movie, and she's dead. After all that, and she's dead.
This reminds me of Deadly Prey. When she gets Deadly Prey, he's hunting for his wife. Have you guys seen Deadly Prey yet?
No.
Oh, fuck you too. We gotta watch Deadly Prey.
You're not the first person to have told me that, so
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's Oscar winning performances. But it's just a movie when you watch, you'll never forget.
Yeah, I've seen pieces of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a perfect storm of we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah, outsider art.
Yep. And so he ends up getting to the arcade. We go to the arcade. He escapes the cop, knocks him out, but he pulls out his M16 and grenade launcher out of just a beautiful hiding place where it's just like
behind his fridge.
To me, no more time for fucking gadgets.
Yeah.
This is Kersey being Kersey. It's time to blow some shit up. This is when it goes to Death Wish 3 again a little bit. So he goes to the roller rink, which is also an arcade, and we get some popcorn explosion.
Yeah. Yep.
Beautiful. They wreck some arcades. He hunts them down. We get a van explosion.
Yeah.
And then we get Kersey facing off with fake White and Karen. And Karen, knocks... I don't know. Does she hit fake White to run away?
Yeah. She runs away, gets gunned down in the back.
Yeah, and then I love how the bad guy goes, I told her not to run! Paul Kersey would have been like, yeah, you're right. She should have followed the rules here. This is not how this works.
Right.
But he kills his hostage. And Kersey doesn't really even let him finish.
Yeah.
He just grenade launcher, stomach, boom.
That's a great moment.
Yeah.
Actually, like I thought that was a really great way to end it. It kind of deflates the whole thing, but in like a very almost like thrilling nihilistic way.
Yeah.
Where and White realizes too, like that's all he had, and he's fucked now.
Yeah.
Like where he just like took away the thing that like Kersey was pursuing him for. And let's be real, like the way the movie treats her, she is an object in this movie, basically.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Because...
Not racist, still sexist.
Progression? Question mark?
Yeah. We're trying to get better, but we're not there yet.
Two.
Yeah, and then I also just love, like, then the cop catches him and whatever, and he's just like, what are you going to do? Like, arrest me? Like,
he just walks away.
Credits.
The cop puts his gun down and is like, I don't want to shoot him. Roll credits. And that's it.
Yeah.
Kersey walks off into the distance.
I thought maybe for a second they were going to have the curtain. Now, obviously, I know there's a fifth, so I knew it wouldn't happen. But if I would have first been watching this and he'd have been like, do what you want, I was like, damn, he does have a death wish. Yeah. He's going to get shot in the back by this cop.
Yeah.
But he just walks off to the saxophone music.
Yeah.
And we fucking roll credits.
It'd be great if we did have a series of like the Death Wish movies where like we did have like 2 or 3 movies and then at the end he inevitably does die. That would have been a really satisfying series.
I think that's the only way that this series really can end. Paul Kersey needs to die.
And we never got that.
Yeah.
Like because 5 happens and it's pretty much the same old thing again.
Well, and 5 was based, and again, they just kind of hit a soft reset button. It's like he's got a new girlfriend that's like 30 years younger than him and like, another like they just kind of reset it every time where it's like, oh, maybe Kersey will be happy this time. Nope.
Yep. Yeah. Now we can talk about make our theories on these scripts. So the first one was basically a buddy cop movie. They wanted him because they were worried about his age, 66.
Wait, was this real? Like, this was actually, they tried to make it a buddy thing? Okay.
Yeah, the original, and Bronson, like, canned it immediately. He's just like, I'm the only star of this.
Sure.
But they said it was really interesting because it was him, hooking up with a son, basically. Like, they were going to introduce that Kersey
like
had
Die Hard 5. That worked really well.
Woof. Woof.
Jai Courtney.
Still never seen. Past, I've seen 4. That's it.
I think Matt's the only one in this room that's seen 5.
Yeah,
I've only seen 4.
It's
once.
like not as bad as you think it is. It's just boring. That's all it is. Like, and Jai Courtney's fucking terrible, but like it's not as bad as it. It's not It's not Bruce Willis' Death Wish remake. Like it's not as bad as you think it is, but it's also like so you guys just like don't need to see it. It's just kind of boring.
Oh, don't worry.
He wasn't running to see it.
Yeah, like if you're ever like I'm gonna see all the Die Hard movies, you could stop at 4, but like 5 isn't the worst either. So it's just whatever.
Yeah, and then they wanted to do one where they brought back the only surviving female from the series from Death Wish 2, which is actually Bronson's wife. But the problem is Bronson's wife was battling breast cancer at the time, and she survived, and she was writing a book called Life Wish, and it was about her surviving breast cancer, and she didn't want to come back to do a movie where her character in the script dies.
Jesus.
Sure.
Of course.
Well, rightfully so.
Yeah. So,
do your thing.
And apparently they said that one had a lot of good ideas where Bronson was going to be questioning his vigilante, like, is this the right, am I doing the right thing?
That's where that piece for the opening comes in, yeah.
So
again, though, bringing back the woman just to kill her, though. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah. Well, and
it might have been a better script, and we could have put, like, do we have to do that again?
To me, it would have somehow turned into, like, I mean, if Bronson wasn't such a fucking asshole with, like, no, do it my way. A lot of these... The third one, we'll get into that. I don't really know how that went off the rails, even though it's a beautiful masterpiece. Yeah, everyone should watch it.
It's wonderful.
But yeah, I do wonder if like it was his ego was getting in the way, because wouldn't it have been cool if she would have came back and Bronson would have died, and then she would have been the new Death Wish? She would have been the new vigilante.
Oh, I would have loved to see that.
Yeah,
because Canon tried to do that, with Ninja 3. Where they're like, oh, let's make the ninja a woman. We're like, but I don't know. I think they would have tried it. I think at that point, Canon would have did anything to try to get a hit.
Yeah. They I really do. I truly believe that this is a mishmash of all these scripts. I think that's what this is.
And
it has a lot of ideas that it doesn't deliver on, which makes me think that not that the other 3 scripts were any better, but it does kind of have a lot of half measures that I think is the reason of rewrite city that it was living in.
Yeah, and another script was international terrorists coming in. But I think all of them felt like, one, Middle America really doesn't care about... I mean, for his character, taking out international terrorists, that's not going to work. Another script was him giving up his vigilante killing, and he would catch the bad guys. But all of them felt like that's just not going to work. So then they just went to their old trope of, the crack thing with Reagan. And they're like, you know what? Let's just go to the formula. He's going to kill a bunch of drug dealers because someone needs to stop these drug lords in America. And it's got to be Paul Kersey.
Yeah.
Because he's the only one who can.
It was timely.
Yeah. And they thought it would work. I think they thought the timely story would have worked. It didn't, sadly. But, we still got to watch This is I would soft recommend this.
Yeah.
I do. I recommend it. It's just like a fun, stupid 80s movie. It moves pretty well. You can tune out during the overly talky scenes and still pick back. You can go get a drink of water or something or beer while you're watching it. And
probably beer. I was drinking beer.
I think if you got someone else in here other than Bronson, because I actually think, to me, the worst part of this film is Bronson. It's just to me, he looks like he's done.
He's pretty characterless in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's an 80s. It's a late 80s explosion action movie. It mostly delivers. Yeah. I would say pick it up. I would say run out and pick it up, but I would say if you find it,
I would
do a lot worse with your time.
I would say rent it or borrow it from someone like us, or I'm the only one who owns it. I wouldn't say go out and find this.
Or if you're like Matt and you find a set with multiple Death Wish
that's
sequels,
fine. Yeah,
that's probably the way to do it. Is to I wouldn't seek this out by itself.
Mm-hmm.
I would seek it out as part of a bundle. If you're one of those weirdos like us that like to run through a whole series.
Yeah, and that's actually I think the only way you can get it on DVD until guaranteed Shout Factory comes through on this. The only way you can get it is in the 3 set with 2, 3, and 4. And I just really wanted to own 3 as well. So, and that's the only way you can get those 2.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, you're building up 3 for me a lot.
It's
a different beast altogether.
And it's a piece of shit, and you'll be disappointed. And wink, you get it. You guys get reverse psychology.
I got to set the bar low.
Yeah. So let's move on to the museum.
This is the second time I've had to reclaim my property from you.
That belongs in a museum.
So do you.
All right, this is the part of the show where we put something in, good or bad. We're just like Indy. We're going out there into the jungles of film and bringing them back. Alex, I'm going to let you start with our visitors portion of the museum. What do you got?
Wine bomb. I'm putting the wine bomb in the museum.
Oh,
that was my favorite part of the movie. It was the most absurd, violent gag I think I saw in the whole thing. And I don't know. I'm just a sucker for those just absurd gadgets. And just watching him just also watching Bronson kind of lazily slap the wine label on the fake wine bottle. Everything about that whole little sequence was kind of a joy to me. So that's what I'm taking.
What do you got, Matt?
I as a person that gets a lot of real satisfaction from revenge movies and things like that. I like them a little bit too much. I have to put in the museum, even though I love the scene with the banter between the baritone guy and his wife/girlfriend, and he dies. I'm not gonna put that in there as much as I love that chunk of the movie because it's so gross, that scene, how nasty they are to each other. But I just because I like the vigilante stuff and the revenge stuff, it's really fucking satisfying to watch the bad guy get blown up with a rocket launcher.
Yeah,
I love just needless violence in the elimination of the bad guy.
Sometimes if a guy just he gets shot in the chest, it's like, that's kind of anticlimactic.
I'm pretty disappointed, but when I see it like a dummy just get fucking obliterated and just exploded, I'm pretty satisfied.
Good choice.
So that's what's going in there. The great last death in this movie.
I'm putting in John P. Ryan as Nathan White because his voice is fantastic. Like I said, I want it to be my voicemail. That guy's great. I love his voice. I don't know who he is. I've never seen him in anything else. But I might look up one of it just to see if he's something good. You know what I'd love to see him in is like where he's just like a rugged general and he's giving everyone orders. I just love that guy's voice.
He's got a great voice.
Yeah, he's great. He is great. Good
All
choice.
Right. All right, now I'm going to let you guys take it. Plug Windy City Horrorama Film Festival Part 2.
Alex, this is why you're here. We brought you in because me and you are running the Windy City Horrorama. So tell the folks about it. I've done it the past couple weeks, but you give the better speech.
Pass the baton to me. That's good. So Windy City Horrorama was a festival that Matt and I put together in Chicago. We had our inaugural event last year in late April at the Davis Theater in Chicago's Lincoln Square, very close to where we are recording this right now. And we showed the best new independent horror movies, both made in the Midwest and from around the world. It was quite successful in the first year. We're hoping to do so again in the second year. We're hard at work putting our program together. We're accepting submissions until the end of February. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but it'll probably be at around that time. So
I think there'll be one more week to submit after this episode comes out.
Gotcha. So we're still looking for short and feature films, both made locally and from around the world. We look at everything. And our part 2 will be from April 26th to 28th at the Davis Theater. We take over the theater that is connected to the bar. So we throw open a bar window in between screenings, starting Friday night. We'll go through Sunday evening. It's going to be a blast. We've already put together what we have so far of the program is really exciting. I'm really pumped to share it with everybody, but we can't do it yet. A couple events coming up if you are in the Chicago area to meet us and learn more about what we're up to. We will be at Reed's Local in Avondale on March 6th. They will be hawking a signature Horrorama drink where proceeds go to fund the festival. We'll also be hanging out there showing some of our favorite movies from back in the day, probably more around this era, late 80s kind of stuff. And you can talk with us more about what's going on, maybe get a little inside scoop. Otherwise, passes are available. Full weekend passes for the low price of $80. That gets you into everything all weekend at the festival. So if you're planning on spending the weekend with us, you're not going to get a better deal than that. That will be up until the end of February as well. You can check us out at windycityhorrorama.com. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You'll find the link to our pass. Our past sales there, and also stay up to date on everything we have going on. So we hope to see you guys there. It's a lot of fun. We really do this for the filmmakers and for the people who love them. So it's going to be a big party. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And one thing, just about the fundraiser, I want to point out that we're talking about at Reed's for our listeners in particular. Reed's has their projector set up to a VCR, so whatever we're screening is probably going to be off of VHS at Reed's. So I don't know what yet, so it's not like I'm keeping it from you. We don't know yet, but we are going to be showing probably something on VHS. So if you listen to this and are in town and you like the VHS stuff, we're probably going to be doing some VHS screenings there, so at least 2. And then I think we'll have a DJ there after that, keeping the night going. Yeah. So it's going to be really fun. And then, the actual party itself, the Windy City Horrorama, when that comes around, like we really need to sell you guys that it is a party.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
We show movies, and we show good movies, but like we're gonna have some fun. We got some fun after parties planned after the movies, and like and that full fest pass gets you into all of that. So come check us out. And if you're not in town, I would say it's something worth coming to town for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Davis Theater was recently renovated. It's got top-notch projection and sound. We get filmmaker guests. We have a sponsorship from Pipeworks Brewery. So you'll get discounts on beer with your festival pass as well at the bar. So that's super fun, super exciting. It's a blast.
And I can tell you, as someone who's gone in there, when you're in the theater, there's something so cool about you don't even have to leave the theater to get more beer, which is kind of amazing. You walk down to the sliding door, it slides open, it's connected to the bar, and you're like, yeah, give me a brew. And they're like, bam, there you go.
Yeah.
That's kind of amazing. And another amazing thing is so many of the filmmakers who came there and the actors, one thing I love to hear them say is, this is the best I've ever viewed my movie.
Yeah.
And that was so cool to hear that, like, echoed over and over. And I even asked some of the filmmakers, like, are you serious? Was this like, and they're like, yes. You have no idea how bad some of the theaters we've gone to are, or some of the setups. Yeah. So you guys put together a great film festival. And, like, not only the fans saying it, but the filmmakers, which actually might be more important. Well,
and that's to the credit of the Davis, man. Like, this is a film fan, too. Like, I love going there to see movies because it is. Like, it's the best way to see a movie in Chicago. The seats are the most comfortable that I've ever sat in any theater around here. That's for damn sure. And the projection and the sound quality are just like fucking top notch. So
and that bar that it's next to is also a really good restaurant, the Carbon Arc.
Yeah.
And whatever you order at the Carbon Arc, they'll put on a tray and let you bring into the theater, and it just like sets nicely on your lap. They have these like little custom made trays. And you can just eat this like delicious dinner too, like, or lunch or whatever with your drink and enjoy your movie. It's a really great experience.
Yeah, they've made it a nice way for us to have a festival where you don't have to leave.
Yeah.
You don't ever have to go anywhere, and that's to the credit of them that they've got so much good stuff in house there.
Yeah, it's all in one. You could get an Airbnb that's probably a walking to 5-minute walking distance away. You could go to so many of the restaurants in Lincoln Square that, we've got our Lou's, we got the deep dish pizzas. You can go to the Carbon Arc, get yourself a nice burger, You can get booze at the window. You can sit and watch these awesome films all day in a comfortable seat in a great theater. That's incredible. Yeah. How many people can provide that? How many film festivals do that?
We lucked out with our location. Yeah. That is for damn sure. They're so good.
And I'll reiterate, everything that we're showing at this festival too is the first time that it is screening in Chicago. This is stuff hot off the festival circuit. Some new stuff too. We had a couple world premieres last year, which was amazing. We've got a really great variety of budget level and subgenre, so you're getting a little bit of everything. Whatever screening, whatever day, you're gonna get a great variety of stuff, and we're really trying to curate an experience that will build you up into something crazy, and will take you down into something a little bit more serious, and you get a full roller coaster with it. It's going to be a really great weekend. We're so pumped.
Yeah.
We want to see you there.
Yeah, and we're there the whole time too. Like, we just are hanging out as well. So come hang out with us. Come have Pipeworks with us. Come talk with us about what you liked and didn't like. Like, we just want to talk movies with you. We just want to hang out with you. And we just want to make sure you have a good time, but we're there. Like, we're going to be there the whole time. So come hang out with us too.
Matt and Alex, thanks for talking Windy City. Matt,
thank you.
We'll be back me and Matt will be back next week with another sports-related film.
Yeah.
And
I'd say this is a sports-related film because Killing Junkies is...
It's a sport for Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
It's drug peddling killer. It's like, this is the ultimate sport to hunt.
Yeah.
It's the most dangerous game.
Yeah. Especially when they're on crack.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, come back next week for the sports-related movie. Remember, you can rate and review us, subscribe on iTunes, YouTube, where we put the trailers up, sadly. This one, well, I'll put up a couple scenes. I think you need to see Bronson fight.
Oh, yeah.
And you also need to see the quality of this long
Yes.
play mode tape that that media put out. The excuse for an image that is in there. I think it's really fun.
See what we were wrestling with here.
Podbean and a whole bunch of other Pod Universe stuff. We're on a lot of them now, so you can find us. It's pretty easy. And remember to be kind.
Rewind.